It's a new season, new drivers, new tracks, and a new challenge. But it's the same old GT7. Welcome everyone back to round number 1 of Season 7 of the Gran Turismo 7 League here at Gavra Racing for the Red Bull Ring. We're going to run through the qualifying grid for today's race before getting straight into the action. In the Alfa Romeo, Born Evil lines up on pole position for the first time this season, claiming another pole position, secured the most poles last season. In second place, we have Play Duchy driving the Porsche this season. He starts alongside Born Evil on the front row of the grid. Down in third place, we have Dan Schneider. I don't actually have the rest of the grid in front of me. Bear with me. I could do an audio test actually whilst I'm doing this. Hello everyone. There's Dan Schneider in third place. I need to get the rest of the grid up. Not the best start. Please bear with me. I do sincerely apologise. There we go. Dan Schneider in third place. We've got Wolfie in fourth in the Alfa Romeo. So 2 Alfa Romeos inside the top 4. In fifth place, we have Wiggly Style. No, we don't. That's not Wiggly Style. That's Cameron Kaboom in the Lexus. In sixth... I've lost where we are. Where are we? Sixth place is Piero in the McLaren, and Wiggly Style in 7th for the Toyota team. In 8th place, we have the Mercedes of Two Saints, last season's champion. In 9th place, Tiger Assassin, alongside X-Natty G, myself, in 10th in the McLaren. In 11th, we've got Black Country Mush making his GT7 debut, and alongside him in 12th, we've got Aston F1 and the Ford GT. The Scout Dan in the Ferrari in... I've messed up the grid along the way. You know what? Let's start again. Let's start fresh from the start, because that was a really bad rundown of the grid. Let's do this again. This is what happens when I don't have the grid in front of me. So, hello everyone. Welcome to the start, a very smooth start to the season of the GT7 League. Born Evil lines up on pole position for the first time this season, secured the most poles last season as well. He lines up on pole in the Alfa Romeo, 4 tenths ahead of Play Duchy in second place. Behind Play Duchy is Dan Schneider in third, also in the Porsche, and alongside him on the second row, Wolfie, with an amazing qualifying in the Alfa Romeo 4C. 2 Alphas and 2 Porsches inside the top 4. Cameron Kaboom, driving the Lexus this season, starts in 5th place, alongside Piero, who is up in 6th place. The first of the 2 McLarens on this grid. Wiggly Style starts in 7th place, with 2 Saints in 8th alongside him on the 4th row of the grid. Last season's GT7 Season 6 champion down in 8th place. In 9th, Tiger Assassin, his teammate for the BCR team in the Porsche, with myself in the McLaren in 10th place, rounding out the top 10. Black Country Mush making his GT7 debut starts 11th place alongside Aston F1 in the Ford GT, starting in 12th. The Scout Dan opting for the Ferrari, the Coca-Cola Ferrari, starts 13th, and alongside him Ted MC in the Mitsubishi, with the Doctor in the BWT Mercedes starting in 15th and rounding out the grid, Fett in the Porsche. There is your grid for today's race. And what an entertaining race it will be. So, with the dodgy start, let's get into it. Because trust me guys, it can only get uphill from here. Without further ado, it's round 1 of the Gran Turismo GT7 League. I just said Gran Turismo twice. I meant to say Gavra Racing GT7 League, but we'll cut that out and make an edit later. Here we go, the lights are building out, counting out for the first time this season. 4.3 kilometres is the length of this track. The Red Bull Ring is the lights out, and away we go. A car's not moving in the background. I believe that's the Doctor, as Born Evil leads the field away. 3 wide in towards turn 1 with Wolfie in the podium position, running in 3rd place. Dan Schneider trying to go round the outside, contact in the midfield. I think that's the Scout Dan. Look at the start from him, from 13th up to 7th place, ahead of the 2 BCR cars, with a nice move down the inside. Dan Schneider down to 5th place. Cameron Kaboom up into the 4th place, but it is Bonnie Ball in the field away, up the hill in towards turn 3, followed by Dutchy, Wolfie, Cameron Kaboom, Dan Schneider being forced wide off the track. It almost did a send into a half spin. There's cars absolutely everywhere on the track, down up into 7th place, Toussaint onto the grass. They're about 3, 4, maybe 5 wide in the midfield, trying to find a good car to ride on board with contact as Tiger makes a little bit of contact with the Scout down. There's contact as Black Country's hit the back of Wiggly Style, who's hit the back of Dan, who's gone wide and off the track. He'll drop down a few positions. Aston's up into 8th place in the Ford GT, making progress through the field as Dan Schneider's been demoted down to 7th place. That's Toussaint and Wiggly Style going side by side. Both cars getting out of shape as Natty now tries to look for a move around the outside, cuts back to the outside of Toussaint. Can he make this one stick? Not on this occasion, as Toussaint will slow down to serve his penalty. Meanwhile up front, the front 4 have really pulled away from the midfield, the front 5 actually, with Piero sticking with the top runners, but it's Tiger Assassin who leads the second pack of cars in 6th place ahead of Dan Schneider. Aston up into 8th place, Wiggly into 9th, or down to 9th I should say. Natty holding position, Black Country Mush staying in 11th place as well. A penalty towards the back for the Doctors. He's now under pressure from Dan, who's now down the inside of the Mercedes, moves up into 15th place and is trying to get his race back on track after the incident down at turn 4. But Bon Evil leads the field away from pole position. Cameron Kaboom down the inside in the Lexus on the Alfa Romeo. A nice move up into 3rd place and a podium for him. But Wolfie with the cutback's got a good run on the Japanese manufacturer. The British and the Irish driver now side by side down the hill in towards the middle sector of the track. Wolfie with the inside line, late on the brakes. Can he get this one stick, or will Cameron try and hold it round the outside? Wolfie gives him the space, just about a touch onto the gravel and up into a podium position. Dan and Tiger Assassin now going side by side in the background with Wiggly Style and Marcus Armstrong wheel to wheel. We'll keep an eye on this battle for 6th place for now, but we'll drop back in towards the battle for 9th place. Black Country Mush trying to work his way round the outside of the McLaren. Can he make this one stick? Not on that occasion. Mush forced a little bit wide. I think there's contact between the Mercedes of Toussaint. He's now got up into 11th place behind his fellow Premier Series champion. 2 Premier Series champions running towards the back of this field. Meanwhile, a Super League champion from the F1 Leagues running in 2nd place ahead behind a Weekend League champion from the Weekend League in the F1 Leagues. Cameron Kaboom side by side with Wolfie down the start finish straight in towards turn 1. Can he make this move stick, or can Wolfie hold it round the outside? Cameron Kaboom with a nice move up into 3rd place. We'll keep an eye on that as they make their way up the hill, but we ride on board with Toussaint. He's got a nice view of the McLaren and the Toyota in front of him going side by side. Which way can Toussaint go? Is he going to be able to go to the left or the right, the inside or the out? We'll have to wait and see. Can he make a move stick 3 wide? Are they going to go 3 wide into the hairpin? Not on this occasion. A little contact between Toussaint and the Wiggly Style. Up front we got Cameron Kaboom now defending 3rd place from Wolfie. Piero looking racy in the background. A little bit of a lag from the McLaren. Wolfie trying to make his way round the outside. Piero trying to pick up the pieces of any mistakes from these drivers in front. We flick back down to the battle for 9th place. Looks like Natty's gone in front, Wiggly down to 10th, and Toussaint trying to put the Toyota under pressure, nearly pushing him through the middle sector of the lap. The black and green Mercedes alternating from the white and green it was last season. Can he try and find a run down the inside in towards the left-hander of turn 7? Not on this occasion, but the top 2 in this race beginning to pull away. Bon Evil leading Play Dutchy through the final 2 corners, closely behind them. Cameron Kaboom ahead of Wolfie. Piero nearly pushing the Alfa Romeo through the final 2 corners. The Alfa Romeo with the new BOP updates and the changes to the physics a day before this race took place. It's really improved the Italian manufacturer. But we've got a lot of variety in terms of the car selection on this season's grid. We've got Mercedes, Porsches, Toyotas, McLarens, Fords, Alfa Romeos, Mitsubishi, Ferrari, Alfa Romeo if I didn't say that already, and a Lexus. Speaking of the Lexus and the Alfa Romeo looking to try and put the Lexus under pressure going in towards the heavy braking zone of turn 4, one of the key overtaking opportunities at this circuit. Wolfie not able to make anything of it just yet. Tiger Assassin has got Dan Schneider close for company. making his way through the middle sector now, but Dan Schneider will serve a 5-tenth penalty at the penalty gate located before turn 9. But the midfield still really close together. We've got individual packs of racing. The front two pulling away. We've got a three-way fight for third place between Piero, Wolfie and Cameron Kaboom. Speaking of, Cameron Kaboom, fourth defensive with a 5-tenth penalty. Wolfie going to try and make his way round the outside, cuts it back to the inside. A beautiful move from Wolfie up into a podium position. And he's fighting for these positions back in the second division of season 3. And now he's fighting with the big boys for the same positions here in season 7. Dutchy now takes the lead of the race ahead of Bon Evil. Wolfie up into third place ahead of Cameron Kaboom, but the Irishman's got a little bit wide over the curbs at turn 1. The Lexus will have a run up the hill as Bon Evil now side by side with Play Dutchy and ahead of the Porsche. Two very different cars after the BOP and physics update. The Alfa Romeo very quick in a straight line, the Porsche not so much. Cameron Kaboom, a little bit of wheel spin on the exit of turn 3. That's not going to help us run down the hill in towards turn 4. If he wants to try and get past the Irishman and claim a podium position, and he's not going to go for it on this occasion. What about Dan Schneider and Tiger Assassin going defensive? Is the Brit, the Dutchman's going to try and work it around the outside. Ridley Starr not close enough to go for a move on the McLaren in front. Meanwhile, the Porsche, two Porsches now side by side in the battle for 6th place. Tiger Assassin defending the inside, Dan Schneider switching it to the inside. Tiger just leaving the door slightly open. Here comes Aston F1 and the Ford GT, diving it to the inside, making a little bit of contact, I think, with the BWT Porsche. It goes a little bit over the curb, but I don't think enough to warrant a penalty. And the Gulf Ford is ahead. The BWT Porsche. Here goes Wiggly Star now down the inside. A little bit of contact made between him and the McLaren. 2 sets going to try and make their way down the inside of both of them. It's down the inside of Natty and down the inside of Wiggly Star. A little bit of out of shape from the McLaren in the background as well. He drops down to 11, but 2 Saint are up into 9th place. Dan Schneider trying to get back past the head of Aston as Tiger picks up a 5-10th penalty at the head of the train. We've got Dutchy trying to keep up with the rapid Alfa Romeo 4C driven by Bon Evil 99. Piero's up into 4th place ahead of Cameron Kaboom. Tiger in 6th ahead of Aston, who's ahead of Dan Schneider. Battle for 9th place continues to roar on with 2 Saint leading the train of Wiggly Star and Natty. Black Country Mush not too far behind either. Scout Dan up into 13th place after the collision between him and Black Country Mush down at turn 4. Ted into 14th place with the Doctor and Fett in 15th and 16th place, but Bon Evil still ahead of Play Dutchy, trying to put the fight to the 4-time GT Sport champion from season 2, 3, 4 and 5. As the cameraman struggles to find the black and fluorescent green Porsche making their way through turn 8. Tiger Assassin slowing down to serve a 5-10th penalty. He'll lose the position to Aston. Will he lose the position to Dan Schneider? Yes, he will. Can he try and make his way around the outside though, in towards the final corner? Dan's not got a good run, goes a little bit wide. We ride on board with the Porsche in the cockpit of Tiger Assassin. You can see the car in front, we've got a 5-10 penalty. He's going to go for it in towards turn 1. Not close enough on this occasion. He'll set himself up the hill. He's got a really good run through turn 1 to maybe get the move done as early as now. Who does Aston favour in this battle? He pulls over to the right hand side to give Tiger the slipstream. Up the hill they go. Darren Schneider picks up another 10th penalty, the total equating now to a whole second, which he'll have to serve on the exit of turn 8. Tiger up into 2nd place, Dan Schneider down to 8th, and this battle has brought along 2 Saint, Wiggly Style and myself into the mix. Black Country Mush in 12th place, the Scout Dan and Ted not too far behind either in this battle for 7th place, sorry. Bon Evil and Play Dutchy still leading the field away. They've gapped to the rest of the field about 3-4 seconds maybe. Wolfie's not too far behind the front 2 cars, and he's bringing Pierre and Cameron Kaboom along with him, going purple to the middle sector. Aston leading the train ahead of Tiger and 2 Saint, the 2 PCR cars working their way through the field after a poor start to this race. It was really chaotic on the opening lap. We've got a couple of penalties to be served halfway through lap 7. Toussaint slows down for half a second as Dan Schneider slows down, dropping the Dutchman down to 11th place behind the Brit of Natty in front, Wiggly Star in 9th. Toussaint only drops down to 8th. Actually, I think he maintains position in 8th place. Up to the head of the train, and Von Evil picking up a 5/10 penalty, which is escalated up to 1 second. Not what he wanted. Played actually less than a second behind him in the hill in the run up towards turn 3. Wolfie defending from Pierre and Cameron Kaboom in 4th and 5th place. Meanwhile, look at this train of cars led by the Ford GT. Really quick in a straight line is that Ford GT, and it's not doing too badly here at Austria. Aston doing a great job currently in 6th place. Meanwhile, Dan Schneider and ex-Natty G going side by side. Porsche versus McLaren Power. BWT versus Kiwi. In this particular battle, Dan Schneider to the inside, the McLaren going late on the brakes and concedes the position. Can he get the slingshot up the hill in towards the middle sector? No, he can't. Not on this occasion. But we're going to have a change of the lead as Bon Evil pulls over to the right hand side, slows down for a second, and Dutchy goes on through into the lead of the race. Pierre now to the inside of Wolfie in towards the penultimate corner. The Frenchman now up into 3rd place, pushing that McLaren to its limits. Not the fastest car in a straight line and at a power-hungry circuit like the Red Bull Ring. Their drivers are going to be flat out for a high percentage of the lap. Doing a really good job as Tiger picks up a 1.5 second time penalty. That's going to be crucial in his battle for 6th place. He will lose a lot of time, probably drop behind Dan Schneider in 10th place. Black Country Mush not too far off this battle either. It's a battle that goes from all the way, starts all the way up at Aston. That's a huge send to the inside, late on the brakes, makes a little bit of contact with the Ford GT. Tiger trying to get on with it in this race, trying to make up as much time as he can before he serves the penalty. You can see his teammate giving him an updraft in the run down towards turn 4 to try and aid him in the overtake. The Porsche down the inside. Aston tries to hold it around the outside. Toussaint trying to find a way through, but with these two going side by side, door to door on the exit of turn 5, a little bit of contact's made. Tiger makes his way back over to the racing line to try and swoop it round the outside, but a door opens on the inside for Toussaint to slip on through and ahead of his teammate up into 7th place. Great racecraft from the 2-time Gran Turismo champion, but his teammate will have to concede 8th place and maybe a couple more positions as he slows down for an agonising 1.5 seconds. Drops down to 10th place, but a huge send to the inside goes Marcus Armstrong. Runs a little bit wide over the curve. Is that going to be a time penalty? We'll have to wait and see. And indeed it is. It's a 1.5 second penalty, which is definitely going to get pushed Natty out of the train. And he's got Tiger Assassin alongside him in towards turn 1. And it should be an easy move. Indeed it is. Up into 10th place. Meanwhile, Dan Schneider trying to put Toussaint under a little bit of pressure. Going in towards turn 3. The Merc goes defensive to the inside. What can Dan Schneider do round the outside? Toussaint's late on the brakes, so we're going to see the good old switcheroo go wide, cut inside. Has he got the run? Has he got the drive? We're in driver's eye effectively on board with Dan Schneider down the hill in towards turn 4. Toussaint going a little bit deep, a little bit wide. Can the Porsche now slingshot his way up in towards turn 6 and find a way past the Mercedes? He's going to go for it now to the inside. Toussaint leaves the door open, tries to hang it in round the outside. What can Dan Schneider do with the inside line for turn 6? Just tucks back in. Back into 8th place for now. It's starting to get a little bit overcast on lap 10. Out of 39, still got 30 laps to go here in this race. 30 laps for these guys as Play Dutchy has started lap number 11 already. Bon Evil closely in pursuit behind him, and the red and white Alfa Romeo against the black and green monster Porsche. Monster's one word that would be used to describe Play Dutchy, as he's picked up a 5/10 penalty. Bonneville now going for a move to the inside. Late on the brakes. He doesn't need to be late on the brakes. Already got the move done. Piero now to the inside of Wolfie down towards turn 3, fighting for the podium position. Goes over the inside curve. Can the Alfa Romeo hold it round the outside? The speed that the Alfa Romeo has against the McLaren is quite frightening. Piero doing a great job to keep up with Wolfie. Wolfie's doing a great job to be in a podium position. Cameron Kaboom sticking with these guys. He's got a lot more fuel than the two cars in front of him. Getting a little bit sideways as Aston still running in 6th place ahead of Dan Schneider, Toussaint and Wiggly Style in that battle for a 6th place. 4 cars separated by nothing really. Here goes Dan Schneider now to the inside of the Golf 4 GT. Can he make this one stick? Can he finally make the move on the Brit? Wheel to wheel, Toussaint's going to try and follow him through. They're 3 wide through turn 7. Darren Schneider now up into 6th place, but he's still got Aston on the inside. Toussaint's kind of boxed in between the Porsche and the Ford. He's got nowhere to go but swoop it round the outside of Aston F1. A great move from Toussaint. Down up into 6th place. Toussaint up into 4th. Aston now down to 8th and will be under pressure from Wiggly Style. You can see the leaders going through turn 1 and up the hill in towards turn 3. Here goes Wiggly Style now to the inside of Aston. Can he make this move stick? Here on lap number 12. Not on this occasion, but we're going to ride on board with the Toyota cockpit cam. You can see how much the cars are beginning to pull away, but then the Toyota starts to bring them in with its top end speed. But he's not going to be close enough on this occasion to make the move. Nearly goes into the back of the Ford GT. Further down the grid, we've got Black Country Mush. He's just been overtaken by the McLaren. Meanwhile, Wolfie and Piero going side by side up the hill through turn 5 into the left-hander of 6. Piero on the inside. Wolfie trying to hold it around the outside using the grip the medium tyres have in the Alfa Romeo. Still going to go door to door. The Frenchman and the Irishman side by side, but I think Wolfie's conceded the position and a 5/10 penalty to go with it. He's got Cameron Kaboom who's working his way around the outside of the Alfa Romeo, and the Lexus gets himself up another position into 4th place. Don't think Wolfie can fight it back into the final corner, but he's going to give it a go anyway, but has to concede 5th place for now. Played up G continuing to hunt Bonneville as they start lap 13 of 39, a third of the way through this race. Wolfie, a little bit of contact with Cameron Kaboom in towards turn 1. The Brit runs a little bit wide off the track, might pick up a 5/10 penalty. Gets away with it this time round. Look at this train that's forming behind Dan Schneider. These drivers have been with each other all race long. We really do have 3 packs of racing. We have the top 2, the 3 fighting for 3rd, and then this the train that's formed behind Dan Schneider, initially led by Aston. Here goes Wolfie trying to work it to the outside of Cameron Kaboom, going defensive in towards turn 4. The Alfa Romeo not having too much fun behind the Lexus. Toussaint trying to find room on the inside of Dan Schneider, gives a little bit of a love tap to the Porsche. Dan Schneider now to the inside. What can Toussaint do? Is he going to try and work it around the outside? Gives Dan Schneider a little bit of a bump on the exit of the corner, gets out of shape himself. Dan Schneider parking his car on the exit, on the apex of turn 6, denying any chance of a switchback. There might have been some track limits actually. No, getting a penalty. For those tuning into the stream, please let me know in the chat if my audio sounds a-okay. Hoping it is. Meanwhile, Play Dutchy's a lot closer to Bonneville than he has been a couple of laps ago, but I don't think the Porsche has the straight line speed advantage to go for a move down towards turn 3. He's got to try something in the middle sector. Riding on board, you can see the Porsche getting a nice drive out of turn 4, but Bonneville, even with Dutchy in the slipstream, just continues to extend his advantage. Dutchy not bringing the Alfa Romeo closer to him as I think he's hoping for. Dutchy getting really out of shape on the exit of turn 5, pushing the car to its limits to try and take the lead of the race. Piero doing wonders in the McLaren ahead of Cameron Kaboom, running in 4th place. Wolfie just dropping off in 5th place. Meanwhile, Aston and Tiger now going side by side in the run down towards turn 6, as Tiger swoops round the outside and up into 8th place, and we try to hunt down his teammate for 7th place. A successful duo in the past, now running in 7th and 8th place. Season 7 of Gran Turismo 7. We've still got Natty and Mush running in 11th, 12th place. The McLaren keeping the Mercedes at bay for now, as the leaders start lap 15. We're coming close to the pit window for the soft compound tyres, as Toussaint now goes for a move to the inside of Dan Schneider down the start-finish straight in towards turn 1. The Mercedes now gets ahead of the Porsche, but Dan Schneider with a nice wide line cutting inside has a good run up the hill, side by side once again. The sun beaming down on the cars as the clouds have disappeared over the circuit. Toussaint to the inside, late on the brakes, wants to make this move stick, gets it done. Up into 6th place, but it's not going to be over just yet because there's still another straight to go where Dan Schneider can try and make something work for him. Around the outside, the Brit going defensive to the inside. Try and maybe aid his teammate as Tiger Assassin looks to make his way through on the inside of Dan Schneider. We ride on board on the bonnet of the Porsche. Oh, Dan a little bit out of shape, runs a little bit wide, and Tiger try and find a way through. On board with the rear wing of the Mercedes in 6th place. A 2-time GT champion is under pressure from Dan Schneider. He's going to go for a move in towards the final corner. Can Dan make this stick? He's going to back out of it. Maybe a wise decision, but Dan Schneider finds himself in a BCMR sandwich with Tiger Assassin forcing his way to the inside, makes contact with Dan Schneider, and unfortunately for Dan, he might just get a 5-10 penalty for that. I think he's got away with it. And that is Tiger now up into 7th place, making a little bit of contact with Dan Schneider. Now has his teammate in front of him, but picks up a 5-10 penalty. Does Toussaint. Piero in 3rd place, under pressure from Cameron Kaboom in 4th, as they make their way down towards turn 4. What can Cameron Kaboom do in the Lexus? Piero keeping that McLaren, making the McLaren work for him as Tiger's now up into 6th place, ahead of his teammate. Is Toussaint going to fight this one back in towards turn 4? He's picked up a 1-second penalty now for track limits down at turn 3. And maybe that was an orchestrated move, knowing that Toussaint will be slowing down for a second. Dan Schneider will be slowing down for half a second. Cameron Wiggly Star now under pressure from Aston F1 as that 4GT is trying to work its way round the outside of the Toyota. The Swiss driver is not having any of it, maintains 9th position for now, but this could get fairly interesting with the 2 drivers in front of Wiggly Star having to slow down for a set period. This could be 3 wide into the final corner with Toussaint slowing down for a second. Brace yourselves, because here comes Wiggly Style. Here comes Dan Schneider now to the inside. Contact between the two as Dan Schneider is now up into 7th place. Toussaint drops down to 8th. Dan out of shape on the exit of the final corner. Going to allow the Mercedes to get a good run in towards turn 1. Wiggly Star and Aston approaching hot on the scene. Here goes Wiggly to the inside. Not on this occasion. Dan's ran wide. Could get a penalty onto the sausage curb from Porsche. Out of shape on the exit of the corner. This train of cars making their way up in towards turn 4. Toussaint now to the inside. In the Mercedes, late on the brakes. Makes contact with Dan Schneider. Is forced wide onto the curb. Allows Wiggly Star to get a run down the inside and goes wheel to wheel with the Porsche. Will Aston make it 3 wide. 3 cars separated by a couple of hundredths of a second. Aston with nowhere to go finds a gap in the middle of the 2. Wiggly Star makes contact with Toussaint as Dan makes contact with Aston, who gets out of shape on the exit. They're 2 by 2 in formation in the run down towards turn 6, with Wiggly Star on the inside of Aston in the Toyota, trying to make that line work for him. Indeed it has, up into 8th place, but a lot of contact in this midfield battle for 7th place. Dan Schneider trying to work his way to the inside of Wiggly Style with the left-hander of 8, the right-hander of 9, and he's made it work. Wiggly now down to 10th place as he loses the position to Aston F1, who's made his way up into 9th with the inside line for turn 9. Wiggly Style though swooping it round the outside, and look who's approaching hot on the scene. Marcus Armstrong and Black Country Mush making their way up through the field after their earlier incidents and time penalties. But what a battle we have on our hands as Piero now side by side with Cameron the Boom, the Brit to the inside of the Frenchman in towards turn 3. The Lexus late on the brakes makes the move work up into 3rd place. So we're going to quickly flick back down to the battle for 6th place. It looks like Toussaint and Dan Schneider have got a little bit of a gap to Wiggly Style. Dan Schneider's going to have to slow down for 5/10 of a second, not what he will be wanting. But we've still got all 16 drivers on the grid, on the track. Bon Evil with about an 8/10 advantage over Play Dutchy after 18 laps, started on pole. Hasn't quite led every single lap as of yet, but it's doing a good job to keep Dutchy behind. That Alfa Romeo really working well here at the Red Bull Ring, but might struggle later on in the calendar. Can Wiggly Style pounce on this opportunity to promote himself up into 8th place? Dan Schneider slows down for half a second. Is it going to be enough for the Swiss driver to work his way to the inside at the final corner? Not on this occasion. But Natty and Black Country Mush working their way to the final corner. The McLaren pulls into the pits. The undercut attempt from the first driver to pull into the pits. Piero also into the pits. So both McLarens in on lap 18. And it's going to be from the mediums onto the soft tyre. Wolfie just dropping off the back of Cameron Kaboom slightly. It'll be interesting to note if any of these drivers react to Piero coming into the box. What about Bon Evil and Play Dutchy? They're medium tyres. Look how much better Play Dutchy's tyres are. Dutchy's got better fuel, better tyres compared to the Alfa Romeo. Maybe that's where the strengths and weaknesses lie between these two cars. The Alfa Romeo may be the superior car at this track over its lap pace, its lap times, but over long distance its fuel and tyre wear, it's in the favour of the Porsche. Play Dutchy's doing a really good job to conserve those front tyres and his fuel. Cameron Kaboom with similar levels of fuel to the Porsche in front of him, as Wolfie picks up a 1 second time penalty. Is anyone going to pit this lap? The front 4 staying out. What about Tiger in 5th place? Is he going to pull into the pits? Yes, he is. Tiger's into the pits off of the mediums. I believe Toussaint will follow him in. Dan Schneider, Wiggly Style and Aston all stay out. Soft compound tyres can do about 23 laps of this circuit. Piero with a 3 second time penalty for cutting the pit lane right line. So he's going to slow down for 3 seconds. That's going to really set his chances back of a podium position. Natty onto the soft. Spets still on the mediums. Dan on the mediums as well. The Doctor all on the mediums. So it's Piero and Natty for the soft compound tyres. What about the battle in the midfield? Toussaint Tiger putting fuel into their German cars. As the Doctor goes through into 9th place, down into the top 10. Where's Tiger going to filter out onto the circuit onto a set of the soft compound tyres? Picks up a 3 second time penalty for cutting the white line on the entrance to the pit lane. And his teammate Toussaint behind in 12th. Whether Natty's gained on them or not, it's hard to tell without the gaps. But Tiger out just behind the Scout Dan in the red and black Coca-Cola Ferrari. And traffic is not what you want to be in, especially at a track like the Red Bull Ring. If you're in a car that struggles for top end speed, although it's a track where overtaking is relatively easy, this looks close on the pit exit between two cars, albeit Fett and Cameron Kaboom. As they make their way up the hill in towards turn 3, Aston's into the pits off with the soft compound tyres and has burnt through an awful lot of fuel. Cameraman struggling to find the Scout Dan, making his way through turn 8. We're going to have to sack this cameraman, who's not been very efficient in spotting drivers on the grid. Tiger now drops down into 11th place, make that 12th as his teammate swoops around the outside after serving a 3-second time penalty. The two PCR cars running in 11th and 12th place, albeit with some drivers ahead of them yet to make their pit stops. The Scout Dan and the Doctor being two of those drivers. Dan Schneider now up into 5th place, Wiggly Style into 6th. Look at the jump of these. Oh no, they haven't pitted. Never mind. None of the top 6 have pitted as of yet. Bon Evil making his way through the final corner to start lap 22 of 39 with Play Dutchie hot on his heels. No! I just spilled a whole bottle of water all over the floor. Oh, I've spilled it all over the shoes. I've knocked it over twice. Oh no, that's going to be messy. I should clean that up, but we've got more important business to deal with. That, you probably heard that as well. Oh no, it's carnage. Everything's carnage. I've spilled my water, and I'm being informed of something on this lap. Played actually in towards turn 3, not able to make a move stick on Bon Evil. 19 my feet are all wet now. Oh no, that's going to annoy me for the final 18 laps of this race. Let's spare a moment for Natty in his shoes. In towards turn 4, Play Dutchie, close behind Bon Evil, but not close enough to remove. The front two separated by a couple of tenths of a second. It has been like this all race long. Bon Evil starting on pole position has continued to lead, but he's got Play Dutchie right behind him through the middle sector, both yet to make a pit stop. The Alfa Romeo struggling on the medium compound tyres in comparison to the Porsche as they make their way into the final 2 corners for the 22nd time this race. Dutchie trying to find a way down the inside. Bon Evil's gone wide. Maybe there's contact into the final corner. Bon Evil maintaining the lead, but picks up a 5/10 penalty for track excursions. Dutchie doesn't go for it in towards turn 1. Running wide again on the exit of turn 1. That could give Dutchie the chance he needs. Up the hill he goes, almost bump drafting the Alfa Romeo. Indeed he is bump drafting the Alfa Romeo. Is he going to dart to the inside? He is. He's going to go for... No, he's not. He backs out of it in the end. This is great racing for the lead of the race between Play Dutchie and Bon Evil, as there is a minor flood beside my chair. Well, that's besides the point. In towards turn 4, Play Dutchie still behind Bon Evil. We're going to quickly check on the progress of the other drivers down the grid. We've got the Scout Dan in 11th place behind Marcus Armstrong, who nearly hits the back of the Ferrari. He goes off the track to hit him. And confirmation that there was contact. I've just missed an overtake for the lead of the race. Play Dutchie now into first, ahead of Bon Evil, who's going to be slowing down for 5/10 of a second. I can't believe it. I've now got 2 streams of water on the floor, and I've knocked my bottle twice. Unbelievable. Anyway, Gavra Kaboom running a solid 3rd place. Has got a sizable gap to Wolfie, who's being... I thought it was going to be caught by Dan Schneider on the map, but it is a lapped car. Dutchie into the pits on lap 23. This is really interesting. Gavra Kaboom follows him in. Are these drivers not confident in the distance on the soft compound tyre? Because we saw Natty and Piero pitting on lap number 18, and well, 5 laps later the race leaders are in. Toussaint with a 5/10 penalty in 8th place will be serving that. So will the Doctor be at the next penalty gate, currently running in 10th place in the Mercedes. Dutchie's out of the pits in 4th place. Wiggly Style staying out, now running in a podium position. Dan Schneider in 2nd. Bon Evil leading this race on lap 24. Started on pole position, is taking his fuel taking the tyres to the tank, and those meetings are pretty much done. Here on lap 24, the tyre wear on the Alfa Romeo is really bad in comparison to the other cars. That is the difference between the Porsche and the Alfa Romeo. If you look in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen, the red indicating the wear, the white indicating the tyre life. That could be something. That could be the downfall of the Alfa Romeo when we come to high deg tracks, such as Control Gardens, Grand Valley Highway, Interlagos, not on the calendar, but proved to be a track that had such high tyre degradation last season. So that's where the Alphas could struggle. The two BCR cars, the two German manufacturers, but the two British drivers running in 8th and 9th place. The number of wins and podiums between them in previous seasons, but struggling to make their way to the front of the midfield. Wolfie in front of them in 7th place. Toussaint, your Season 1, Season 6 champion. Tiger Assassin undefeated at Mount Panorama. Born Evil in the pit lane. Where is Playduchy? He's already through turn 1 and he's already halfway up to the hill in towards turn 3. And Born Evil's just coming out of the pit lane now. That is the power of the undercut. Onto a fresh set of the soft compound tyres. Clean air for Playduchy. Now Born Evil's going to try and defend from Cameron Kaboom, who's going to want to fight this one, going purple to the first sector, albeit by 600ths of a second. Pierre and the McLaren on the fresh, soft compound tyres, not as fresh as all the cars in front of him, but will have those tyres up to temperature with the new tyre physics. A day before the race, a lot of changes to the day before this race happened. This race was raced on the Friday. We had the BOP, the physics update, the suspension update, the tyre update on the Thursday. And these drivers have done well to quickly learn and adapt to the new changes. But our battle for third place, a net second, whilst Wiggly Style stays out and leads a lap. Here in Austria, Tiger Assassin picks up the fastest lap with a 1:28.7. Will pick up an extra point in the championship if he can keep it by the end of the race. But here goes Cameron Kaboom pushing Born Evil in towards turn 1. The Lexus versus the Alfa Romeo. Two British drivers fighting for the final spot on the podium as things stand. As they make their way up the hill, anyone gonna be able to go for a move? Born Evil 3/10 purple to the first sector, albeit turn 1. Rather impressive considering he's got Cameron Kaboom right behind him, putting him under a significant amount of pressure on the soft compound tyres. 2/3 into this race, and we've got Wiggly Style leading, yet to make a pit stop, followed by Playduchy. Born Even in 3rd, Cameron Kaboom in 4th place through turn 4. With Piero in 5th, Wolfie in 6th, Tiger and Toussaint in 7th and 8th respectively. Dan Schneider not too far behind them. Nat in a lonely 10th place with Black Country Mush in 11th. Aston in 12th, Ted in 13th. The Doctor in 14th, Fett in 15th, and our first retirement, the Scout Dan, as Wiggly Style goes to join him in the pit lane. Although, unlike the Scout Dan, Wiggly Style will be leaving the pit lane once the fresh set of soft compound tyres has been put onto the Toyota and the fuel has been put in. Playduchy doing what he does best, leading from the front with Born Even in 2nd place with a 5/10 penalty, and Cameron Kaboom in 3rd. As they make their way now up the hill, what a run the Lexus has. Is going to aid the Alfa Romeo, interestingly, in towards turn 3. And purple to the first sector. Dan Schneider with the new fastest lap of the race, a 28.194, as he's hunting down the two BCR cars in front of him. We continue to ride on board with the Lexus as he hunts down Born Evil in the Alfa Romeo for 2nd place in towards turn 4. Not close enough to go for a move. Might just wait for Bonnie to serve that penalty at the next penalty gate. Speaking of penalties, another one for Toussaint. He's picked up quite a few this race. Working with his teammates to try and hunt down the Irishman in front of him. But they're bringing Darren Schneider along with them. Wrigley Styles come out about a second behind the McLaren in 10th place. Dan Schneider's purple to the middle sector once again. And he set 2 consecutive fastest laps. He might struggle though with a little bit of traffic in front of him. Toussaint's going to slow down to serve his penalty. Tiger goes to the inside. Dan Schneider not affected by the Mercedes as they make their way down in towards the final 2 corners. These 3 separated by a couple of hair lengths. As they make their way down the start-finish straight, it's not quite another purple lap for Dan Schneider. So Cameron Caboom now up into 2nd place after Bonnie Evil served the penalties. They make their way through turn 3. Dan Schneider now alongside the Mercedes as they make their way up the hill in towards turn 4. Dan Schneider might be getting a slight toe from Tiger in front as he gets ahead of the Mercedes into the braking zone. Up into 7th place. A nice move from Dan Schneider. BWT Mercedes, Porsche splitting BCR Mercedes. Up front, Bon Evil sniffing the back of the Lexus, trying to find a way through. As Play Dutchy is already making his way through turn 8 in a second. We'll see the 2 cars behind making their way through the left-right chicane. Austria never fails to provide entertainment for the viewers, and we're about to get another car added into the battle for 6th place as Wolfie 907 has picked up a 5/10th penalty, and that will bring Tiger Assassin right up to the back of that Alfa Romeo. With 11 laps to go in this race, Piero starts lap 29. We've got 2 battles out on circuit, the battle for 2nd place, the battle for 5th place. Between an Alfa, 2 Porsches and a Mercedes in this train. Here goes Dan Schneider, looking for a move on the Mercedes up front. Bon Evil now to the outside of Cameron Caboom. There's not even a contest for the Lexus as the Alfa Romeo swoops on past. Tiger's up into 5th place. A mistake from Wolfie, he's dropped to 7th and picks up a 5/10th penalty. Dan Schneider trying to work his way to the outside of the Porsche. 2x2 with Wolfie and Toussaint now going side by side. 2 GT champions battling for 7th place. Probably not the position they'd hoped to be fighting for, as Dan Schneider's now looking for a move on the inside of Tiger Assassin, who regains the racing line. You try and swoop it around the outside of Dan Schneider. He's still side by side, door to door, the 2 German manufacturers in this race, battling for 5th place. Tiger now with the inside line, makes contact and forces down over the white line. The Dutchman might get a 5/10th penalty for that, as Toussaint tries to go around the outside of Dan Schneider. This is absolutely great racing as Wolfie slows down for half a second to serve his penalty, but will still be within the slipstream of this train. Tiger, I think, ran a little bit wide, might get a penalty for track limits. We'll find out before the line. Gets away with it. Toussaint on the back of Dan Schneider. So you're going to go for it into turn 1 or wait for turn 3? Not on this occasion. What about the battle for 2nd place? Oh, Cameron Caboom's got a 1-second penalty. That's going to be crucial in that battle. Might just knock the brush out of it for now. Tiger defends to the inside, but does he defend enough? Dan Schneider late on the brakes to the inside at turn 3. Kind of repays the favour to what Tiger done earlier. The Brit now forced wide off the track, loses 2 positions to Wolfie and Toussaint. As Dan now up into 5th place, with Toussaint going for a move on the inside. Tiger on the inside of Wolfie, 2x2 again. Dan Schneider with the switchback. Tiger on the inside of Wolfie takes back 2nd place as they're 2x2 up the hill in towards turn 5 and 6. Toussaint with the inside line makes a little bit more contact with Dan Schneider. Lots of contact being made between these three drivers. Wolfie now to the inside of Tiger, and he gets the move done. The Alfa Romeo on a charge through the field, was running in a podium position, but gathering a couple of penalties on the way has knocked him down into 7th place. But Toussaint now takes 5th place, and he leads the train ahead of Dan Schneider, Wolfie and Tiger in 8th place. But quite a bit of bumping and barging in this train. Once you get one bump, you often get another later down the line. As Dan Schneider now goes for a move in towards turn 1. And a really nice move for Dan Schneider. A crucial move as well, because he needs to pull away from these guys to serve a 5/10 penalty and not lose too much time to the cars behind. Toussaint now really narrow to the inside, makes contact with Dan Schneider, who's forced wide and off the track once again. Dan Schneider not being particularly loved by the cars around him in this race. Toussaint now defensive to the inside in towards turn 4. What does Dan Schneider do? How does he play this? He's got to try and defend from Tiger behind. The switchback goes wide, cuts inside to get a good run up the hill. Now to the inside of Toussaint, but just backs out of it in the end. And there's a saying, where safety cars cause safety cars. I think the same theory applies to contact in racing. If you get one bump, you often get another that follows. Dan serves his penalty, loses 2 positions in the process as Tiger and Wolfie go on through. Natty now under pressure from Wiggly Star in the battle for 9th place. As Wiggly Star won 9-lap pressure soft compound tyres to the Britain front. You certainly feel the tyre advantage and the straight line speed that the Supra has to offer in comparison to the Mercedes. But all eyes are on the battle for 5th place. Piero unable to close the gap. The cabin for Boom, who's picking up a couple of penalties, not allowing him to get a gap. Get the gap down to Bon Evil as Play Dutchie's gone off into the distance. About 7 seconds I think separates the cars. Dan Schneider trying to make his way through the field in what has been a very eventful Austrian Grand Prix to host the first round of the GT7 season. Riding on board with the Porsche, we're now going to go to the Mercedes, the Alfa Romeo 4C. Wolfie running in 6th place. It's been a great race for him, ahead of Tiger and ahead of Dan Schneider. With only 8 laps to go in this race, that's a new personal best through the middle sector as well. Toussaint's got a little bit of a gap to these 3 behind. Maybe he's just going to try and push and pull away from this battle whilst these guys continue to fight for position. Dan Schneider nearly pushing Tiger through turn 9. And he's got a good run through the final corner down the start finish straight, but can't quite get the run with Tiger still in the slipstream of the car in front. So they make their way in towards turn 1 for the 33rd time this race. Wolfie leading the train in the battle for 6th place as Toussaint's got a little bit of a gap, one that he might be slightly comfortable with. Dan looking for a move on the inside of Tiger Assassin. As Tiger's gone for it on Wolfie, not seeing Dan on the inside, and that's an unfortunate racing mistake. Wolfie now side by side with Tiger Assassin, who went for it on Wolfie, but Dan Schneider had already committed to the inside of Tiger, causing a little bit of contact between the 3 drivers. Meanwhile, Wiggly Style now wheel to wheel with the McLaren. It's not a contest of straight line speed. The McLaren loses out in that battle as Wiggly Style gets the move done down the inside with the fresher tyres, although Natty's going to try and fight this back with the switchback. Well, those tyres have been on for 9 laps more than the Toyota, and will settle for 10th place. And I don't really think you can blame Dan Schneider in that situation. He'd already committed to the inside. Tiger Assassin not realising, then going to the inside of Wolfie. Stewards might want to look at that one, although there has been quite a bit of contact between these 3. Some say rubbing is racing. but there's been a little bit more than rubbing at some stage of the race. 5 laps to go until the final lap of the race, and Dan Schneider and Tiger Assassin wheel to wheel once again in towards turn 1. Toussaint with a comfortable lead ahead of this train. Let me know your drive for the day in the comments. Here goes Wolfie now to the inside. Tiger Assassin just tucks back in behind the Porsche. Dan Schneider's got wide, he's outbroke himself. He's got onto the sausage curve, and Tiger Assassin with the run gets ahead of the Dutchman. So these two now side by side down the hill into the heavy braking zone of turn 4. Wolfie trying to follow Tiger through on the inside, but Tiger fighting it back. He's now up into 6th place in the race. The two BCR cars were about 10th and 12th at one stage of the race. They're now 5th and 6th. It's been a good comeback from them. But it is a 1-2 for Bon Evil and Play Dutchy. With 5 laps to go in this race, Cameron Kaboom, he's pushing as much as he can to try and catch up to the back of Bon Evil, but he's just getting 5-10 penalties, disrupting the flow of his race. I believe a comment he made after the race was, I think he said he got more penalties in that race than all the other drivers combined. It's not likely, because we've had quite a few penalties, especially in the battle for the midfield. Tiger forcing Dan Schneider over to the right hand side of the circuit, defending the inside aggressively. So he's trying to consolidate 6th place in this race with limited laps to go. 52 minutes into this 57-minute race, or it should be 57.5 minutes long based on the calculations. Tiger heavily defensive to the inside. Dan Schneider tries to work it to the outside, but he's got a little bit wide again, and that does mean he's going to get the run down towards turn 4 on the Porsche in front. Wolfie's going to try and stick with these guys as best he can with his 5/10 penalty. Dan Schneider launches one to the inside. Tiger gives him the room. Side by side on the exit, up the hill through the right-hander of turn 5. Wheel to wheel between the two Porsches once again. As Wolfie barges his way through the inside, a little bit naughty from the Irishman, but he's made it work. There has been an awful lot of contact in this race. I do have to say, some might say it's rubbing, but there has been a lot of rubbing. Wolfie now concedes the position down to 8th place. Meanwhile, look who's gaining on this battle. Wiggy Star and Marcus Armstrong, they are about 12 seconds behind the cars in front. On lap 22, it's lap 35, and they're on the same straight. Personal best for the McLaren driver, as they now make their way down the first straight in towards turn 2 and 3. Let's quickly check up on the battle for 2nd place. Cameron Kaboom still sticking with Bon Evil, but has picked up another 5/10 penalty, pushing that Lexus to its absolute limit to keep up with the rapid Bon Evil 99, who started on pole position. Tiger on the left hand side of the screen, right hand side of the track, defensive to turn 4, trying to defend as best he can from Dan Schneider behind. He's putting on a really good show for the viewers. He's now going to try and work his way around the outside of the Porsche. Absolute great racing from the two drivers as he's found a gap on the inside, and he's made it work up into 6th place. Not exactly sure how he made that move work. Might have been contact in it, but if there's no claims, then no penalties will be awarded. Dan Schneider starts lap 37 in 6th place, but driver in position 7 on lap 37 is going to try and make it 6th place with a move to the inside at turn 1. Indeed he does. Car number 9 ahead of car number 21. Up the hill they go once again. Tiger Assassin defensive to the inside. Dan Schneider in the middle. Temporarily 3 wide as Wolfie might try and go around the outside of the 2. Tiger to the inside. Wolfie gives Dan a little bit of a nudge as he tries to get the run on the 2 cars in front. But look in the background, Wiggly Style and Marcus Armstrong making their way onto the scene, with the Brit trying to work his way to the outside of the Toyota. Unable to do it on this occasion. Up front, Tiger defending like a lion. Behind Darren Schneider, sorry, ahead of Dan Schneider, but behind is Dan Schneider, as they fight so much in the dying stage of this race. Dan trying to work his way around the outside. Can he sweep around the outside of the Porsche? Not on this occasion. He might try something in towards turn 7, but gives Tiger a little bit of a bump through the middle of the corner. These guys have been fighting since lap 1. They've been battling and barging all race long. Around the final corner they go to start the penultimate lap of the race. Let's quickly check the progress that Camera Kaboom's making on Born Evil. They're fairly close to one another because the camera is, well, you can see it move from car to car. That's how close they are. Play Dutchies a couple of seconds up the road in front. Dan Schneider and Tiger to wheel as they make their way up the hill in towards turn 3 for the penultimate time in this race. Who remembers the last time we had 3 cars fighting for the position at Austria? We had some rather rapid commentary from that race. Dan Schneider on the right hand side of the circuit, defensive for turn 4. Here comes Tiger now, door to door, wheel to wheel with the Dutchman. These two have been racing all race long. Wolfie just can't find a way through. And there's not long left in this race. A couple of minutes, a couple of laps as Play Dutchie starts the final lap of this race. Dan Schneider launches one to the inside. Tiger leaves the door open. Dan up into 6th place. How does Tiger decide to fight this? How does Wolfie decide to attack this race as well? He's got 2 cars in front of them, and look who's gaining hot on the scene. What Natty and Wiggly Star went 9th and 10th place, gaining and gaining all the time. Tiger barges his way to the inside. I think their contact was made. Dan gets out of shape. Wolfie now to the inside, up into 7th place. A little bit slow on the exit of the final corner, but they start the final lap of the race neck and neck across the line. Side by side in towards turn 1. That little mistake, the move from Tiger, might have been a crucial one. Wolfie now up into 7th place with the move down the inside at turn 1. But Dan Schneider's got a good run up the hill in towards turn 3, but I'm not sure he's going to be able to fight it in a straight line compared to the Alfa Romeo. Camera Kaboom might be able to make progress on Bon Evil. Gonna quickly pan the camera up to a driver who's in a familiar position for himself. He rounds the final corner for the final time in this race. Play Dutchie wins the opening round of the season in the Red Bull Ring ahead of Bon Evil in 2nd place and Camera Kaboom in 3rd. Meanwhile, the 2 drivers for 7th place going side by side, Wolfie and Dan Schneider. Wolfie ahead of the Dutchman. We'll get to the results in a minute. What about Natty and Wiggly Style in the background for 9th place as well? Camera Kaboom finishes in 3rd place ahead of Piero in 4th, Tyler Toussaint in 5th, Tiger in 6th. All about this battle for 7th place. It's not over yet. Wolfie runs a little bit wide. Around the final corner for the final time. Can Dan Schneider get a run? What about Natty on Wiggly Style up to the line? It's Wolfie from Dan, from Wiggly from Natty. Black Country Mush finishes in 11th as he makes his way around the final 2 corners for the Mercedes team. Teammates with Piero. And it's up to the line for Black Country Mush to seal 11th place. Aston F1 had a good start to the race, starting on the soft compound tyres, was in 6th position, but has dropped down to 12th as he crosses the line. The Doctor will finish this race ahead of Ted in 13th place, with the Irishman finishing down in 14th, exactly where he started. There's around the final corner and up to the line. What a race! That was quite the. That was. I mean, well, let's start at the front. Play Duchy wins the first race of the season, kicks things off exactly where he likes to leave it, in the lead. Bonneville starting on pole position, couldn't quite execute the Grand Slam, did get the fastest lap in the end, finishes in second place, but it was a great race from Play Dutchy, battling with Bonneville in the first stint. Bonnie was then left to battle with Cameron Kaboom, who takes a podium position in the first round of the season in third. Piero doing a great job for the McLaren in fourth place, ahead of Toussaint in fifth, who struggled at the start but made his way through the midfield. The highlights of the race would be the battle between Tiger Wolpe and Dan Schneider. And although it was entertaining, a lot of contact between them, minor bumps along the way. Whether any penalties are given out, we'll have to wait and see what the stewards say, if the stewards say anything. But that's Tiger in sixth behind his teammate, Wolfe in seventh place ahead of Dan Schneider in ninth, Wiggly Style just about staying ahead of Natty in 10th place, and Black Country Mush taking the final point on offer in 11th place. Aston in 12th, the Doctor in 13th, Ted in 14th, and Fett in 15th. What a way to start the season, and apologies, the commentary wasn't as good as it usually is, but in the next couple of weeks it will get better, trust me on that. But what is next race? Sardinia, that's it, there we go. Join us next week for the same time, same place where we're at Sardinia Road Track A for the first sprint race of the season. Can Dutchy make it 2 from 2, or are we going to have a different race winner? I'll see you next time. Goodbye.